Folding phones are at a turning point. They are so thin and light that they feel almost like a regular smartphone. I did use the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which is such a stupid name, for 3 weeks now, and there are some things I love, some things I hate, and at the end I will tell you if you should buy or wait. Everyone that holds the Pixel Fold in their hands for the first time is very impressed by the high build quality and how thin it feels. The matte frame and matte glass and the way the device closes, it's extremely premium. This is certainly also due to the weight, which is quite high, 257 grams, that's a double espresso or 36 grams more than a regular smartphone. But the predecessor was even more heavy. When you put them side by side, you get the feeling that they are many years apart. The new Pixel feels so much more normal and simply more finished, no longer like a prototype. I'm unsure though about the new camera element. Those two glass pills are a bit odd, but they helped to make the device thinner. It's 10.5mm when closed and 5.1mm when open. That's quite a bit thinner than OnePlus and Samsung. Only Honor undercuts that with the Magic V3 and its crazy 4.4mm. I did do a review on that phone as well, so check it out on my channel. However, the shape of the Pixel Fold makes it look thinner than it actually is. It's also waterproof for 30 minutes at a depth of 1.5 meters. Optical illusions also play a role when it comes to the display. At first glance, the bezels appear thinner than on the predecessor, but in fact they are a tad thicker, and it may sound harsh, but these are the thickest bezels of all current smartphones. That's a bit of a shame, and I will never like the look of it, but in day-to-day use I stopped paying attention at some point. That's because the display is otherwise fantastic. It's 6.3 inch in size, pleasant to use with just one hand, and it's actually the display of the Pixel 9. With the exact same dimensions, curves, the Full HD Plus resolution, 120Hz and 2700 nits peak brightness. That's pretty clever because it means that everything on the display looks normal. The keyboard is regular size and watching videos also makes sense. Samsung should take notes at this point. However, if you put the OnePlus Open or the Honor Magic V3 next to it, they look like they're coming straight out of the future. You can't even tell that they are foldable. The reason why many people are interested in a folding phone is because they want a larger display, and the one of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is the largest on the market. 8 inch in size, almost square, and it impresses me every single time I open it up. It's like an IMAX movie screen. It's just as bright as the auto display and of course has 120Hz. The bezels are symmetrical and there's only a small hole in the corner. This looks years better than the predecessor. And everything is actually more fun on such a large display. Having two apps open side by side, doing emails, being on websites, taking photos, looking at photos, maps, gaming. It's like having an iPad mini with you all the time. I could even notice that I was using my computer or tablet less because of this phone. The only thing that doesn't really make sense on this display is watching videos because the bezels are super thick. That's because of the aspect ratio, but you can use it half folded. The crease in the display is visible and you can feel it. OnePlus is simply further ahead, but it's not that bad. The first Pixel Fold had a relatively rough start. The software was clearly not finished, but then there came a lot of updates and at the end it was quite good, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is very good from the start. Pure Android is beautiful as ever. There are nice details and animations everywhere. Switching between the inner and outer display is almost always seamless and very few apps are not supported. You can set auto rotate for the inner and outer screen separately. I had a lot of fun using this device, but I do think that OnePlus handles the large display even better. They have the superior multitasking. Google of course does have Circle to Search and Gemini, both things I use on every single day, in addition to the offline music recognition and the extremely fast dictation function. Those are underrated features in my opinion that made day-to-day life easier. While the Google Pixel still had the Tensor G2, we are now at Tensor G4 with 16GB of RAM, and the performance is just the way I like it. It's very smooth and very fast. Nothing to complain here. The Samsung Fold 6 and Honor Magic V3 have almost twice as much processor and graphic performance in benchmarks, but you won't notice this in everyday use, only in very graphical intensive games. The storage is at least 256 gigabytes, which is a good thing, although 512 gigabytes would also be okay in this price range. I think it's a shame that it's only UFS 3.1 technology. This is slower and more energy hungry than the newer UFS 4. Only Samsung and Google can provide 7 years of software updates in a folding form, and especially when you think about the price and that maybe you want to sell the smartphone one day, the buyer will be very happy to see that there are 7 years of updates, and that's just great. But a not unimportant part about longevity is battery life, and there, well, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold has the largest display on any Pixel, but also the smallest battery, which is unfortunate. The battery life therefore is worse than with the regular Pixel 9 and 9 Pro, even if you only use it closed. But when you open it up, the display suddenly consumes almost twice as much energy. Good news is I was always able to get through a whole day. Only when I was sitting in a forest for 24 hours to take a wallpaper and traveling to San Francisco, I had to recharge midday. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold ships with Android 14, but I had the theory that Android 15 could improve battery life because that is what Android 15 is supposed to do, and I tried it, the beta on this device, and it did work. So the standby went way down and I was able to get 4 to 5 hours of screen on time. Still not awesome, but for me, for my day-to-day life, it is okay. It is comparable to the Samsung Fold. The Google Pixel 9 Pro lasts about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, and the OnePlus Open and Honor Magic V3 last even longer. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold charges very slow, 50% in 30 minutes, 100% in just about 100 minutes. And now that you see it, I have to address it. Why is the microphone hole not centered inside of the microphone hole? That is not nice. There is wireless charging, but it's also slow, and there's no reverse wireless charging or Qi2, both of which is a shame. One of the biggest reasons to get a Google Pixel is the camera. And you might think, because it's called Pixel 9 Pro Fold, that it's the exact same 3 cameras out of the Pixel 9 Pro, but they are not. None of the lenses is identical. But more on that in a moment. First, a few words about image quality. The main camera is of course the best looking one. You can simply point and shoot with it and you will get a great exposure, beautiful colors and the crisp pixel look. I do like it and I take more photos with it than with other smartphones. The fact that you can fold it makes it also very handy and you can really see what you are photographing with the large display. There are cute animations on the outer display, so small children can look directly into the lens and grown-up children can see their hair. The ultra-wide angle is very wide. It does have autofocus and macro mode. I did like it, however the quality is somewhat poorer than the main camera. When you look closely, there is less sharpness and it does have more grain. The third camera is a 5x lossless zoom, which is actually quite unique in a folding phone. I really do like this field of view and I take a ton of pictures with it. If you take a closer look at the pictures, it is obvious that they have less resolution than the regular Pixel 9 Pro, and sometimes there are even HDR artifacts. But none of this is visible when you just look at the pictures. In general, the Pixel 9 Pro looks sharper, does have more dynamic range and less noise. The sensors and the lenses are larger and therefore the software does not need to work quite as hard. Speaking about magic, of course the Pixel Fold does have the full portion of artificial intelligence. You can remove and move things in pictures, make them larger, replace the sky or the ground. Unfortunately, you do need internet for all of this, but the results are impressive. There are some features missing that the regular Pixel 9 Pro does have: 8K video boost and images in full resolution. Only RAW is supported. This is very strange since this is the most expensive Pixel. The video mode was kind of disappointing for me. The results can look overworked. In regular day-to-day life with good lighting, it is fine, but I mean, what is this shit? The selfie cameras are below average. You can tell that they have a very small sensor, they tend to be blurry and the field of view is relatively narrow. Despite everything, in my opinion, this is the second best camera in the folding phone. For me, the first place is the OnePlus Open. The sensor is large, the lenses are great and the Hasselblad colors are great to look at. Conclusion: Google did what Apple couldn't. They made small changes, but we feel like we got huge improvements. And I think that this phone is great. I did use it quite a lot and I enjoyed using it. And I think this inner screen is just fantastic to look at. But even if this phone would be perfect, it would still be very expensive at 1,899 euros. Even if it will drop in price below 1,500 euros, it would still be more expensive than a regular smartphone. And it is not perfect, right? It has big bezels, small battery, and not the same cameras as the regular Pro model. So I think the hardware needs to improve even more. So we are at the point where it's just like using a regular phone. And the Honor Magic V3 shows that that is possible even today. So I want this thing, but with Google Design, Google Camera, and Google Software. And till then, I'm gonna use my OnePlus Open.